Hello and welcome back to National Ag Day live from Sydney. We're in Martin Place here, and we've also got our friends and colleagues down in Melbourne at South Bank celebrating Ag Day there in person as well. But I know we've got a lot of people tuning in online, and our friends in agriculture posting on social media and sharing the love about our Australian farmers. The hashtag, as a reminder, is Ag Day. Here in Sydney, I just wanted to shout out for everyone that's sitting here and listening and enjoying the sunshine. We have some fantastic free produce to give away. So if you'd like to come on down and grab some of the fruits of our farmers' labour, please do. It's all available for you to take home. We also have our VR and augmented reality experience over here as well. A fantastic opportunity for you to experience what it's like to be on a farm and just see what happens day to day. I also want to take the moment to acknowledge our partners. This wouldn't happen today. We wouldn't be able to celebrate Ag Day without them. So a huge thank you to Australian Made, Syngenta, Nutrient Ag Solutions and NBN Co for their support of Ag Day. I'm very excited to welcome our next guest today. She is a force of nature and a great advocate for our industry. I'm excited to welcome the President of the National Farmers Federation, Fiona Simson. Fiona, hello.
Hello, Kayla.
So nice to see you.
So nice to be here too. I'm battling with some forces of nature myself here on the farm, but super excited to be on farm for Ag Day this year and beaming to you live in Martin Place.
Beautiful. Fiona, for everyone who's tuning in and watching live, where is your farm, and tell us about it?
Yeah, so our farm, family farm, that's been in my husband's family for many generations, is on what we call the Liverpool Plains in northwest New South Wales. So somewhere between Dubbo and Tamworth. It's a beautiful spot to farm. It has deep alluvial soil floodplains on which we grow crops, and then also some sort of sloping country going up to the hills where we graze cattle. And right now it's very, very wet. So things are a bit limited in terms of what we're doing, but I'd say definitely we're getting ready to hopefully harvest some wheat soon and to keep planting some sorghum. And of course, the cattle are loving the lush grass that we've got growing here now with all the rain.
Beautiful. I think, Fiona, for people who may be unfamiliar with the real impacts of disasters like flooding on farmers, could you maybe just give us a bit more of an in-depth look about, for you as farmers in your area, what happens when it floods?
Yeah, well, we're really lucky here on our farm in that we're sort of at the top of where the water comes down. So the water falls, we're just off the range here, off the Great Dividing Range. And so the water falls at the top of the range, mostly comes through us and moves on down. But as it comes on down, obviously it creates a huge amount of damage. So erosion, it comes out of its creeks and washes away all the fences and roads and infrastructure that you might have on farm. Sometimes if it's a really big flood, it might take away some of your sheds and infrastructure as well, although farmers do tend to try and put those things up high as much as they possibly can. But also, of course, in extreme events, livestock can be taken as well if things happen really quickly, such as we've seen in the Central West just over the last couple of weeks. So it can cause enormous damage on farm in terms of infrastructure. But one of the things that I know we're really struggling with at the moment in New South Wales, particularly where we've had these massive floods, is that we need the road infrastructure to get our produce from the farm here, if we can actually harvest any of it when it all dries out, to get our produce from the farm to the consumers, so to the silos, to the boats, to the shops, wherever we're sending it. And the floods, because it's just been relentless, they've really, really ripped up roads. There's literally taken away the tar. It's caused enormous damage to low-lying causeways and bridges. And so if you think of the trucks that we need to take our grain and carry our cattle, they're having enormous difficulties, and the councils, the local government councils out here are going to have trouble paying for all that damage. So that's one of the issues that we've got on farm at the moment. I'm just dealing with nature as we talk, with the wind coming up.
And I suppose, Fiona, obviously it makes you so passionate about being involved in an industry organisation like NFF and really leading the charge in supporting farmers to be resilient and respond to natural disasters and crises like these. Do you want to talk about what it is you love so much about being at the head of an industry organisation like NFF?
Yeah, look, I love taking some of the feedback and the comments and the questions and the issues and the opportunities, because there's a whole range of those, from the really difficulties that we have on farm and in the agriculture supply chain, right through to so many of the opportunities and the potential we have. As the head of NFF, I get the chance to take what people tell me and the feedback that we gather from all our farmers and our stakeholders and our members right through to government. So I get to talk to the PM, I get to talk to the ministers, I get to talk to state representatives and stakeholders, I get to talk to agribusinesses in our supply chain and feed all that in to come out with better outcomes for agriculture, to keep growing our industry, to keep growing the amazing Australian agriculture, which is, a huge supply chain with farmers right at the beginning of it, but going right through to our suppliers and our freight and our processors and our retailers and our technology companies, all the way through to make better outcomes to keep growing our industry towards a $100 billion industry at Farmgate by 2030. And all of those things, the 100 billion is, it's an exciting figure, but underneath that, it means we've got vibrant people. We've got lots of young people and people wanting to come into our industry. We've got great technology and innovation in our industry. And Aussie farmers are known for all of those things. And so that's what I love. I get to take the ground roots stuff and the things that I hear on ground and what people tell me on ground through to really solve some problems and to create some opportunities for agriculture.
And Fiona, you've just come back from Cairo, where you're at COP27 talking about climate smart farming, putting Australia on the global stage. Do you want to tell us all about that experience?
Oh, wow. Yeah, what an experience. I mean, the most massive event you can think of. Think about 40,000 people in one space from all parts of the world. So a huge global sort of melting pot, if you like, with all nationalities, all ages. The diversity of the there was just extraordinary. And a couple of big things for me. One was the conversations. So Australian farmers are actually at the forefront because of the innovations we use on farm, because of the research and development that we farmers invest in and have through our R&D system, and that government supports as well. Then we are at the cutting edge of dealing with climate change and dealing with and using technology, I guess, to help us farm more sustainably in the future. And so we were actually in a number of events. I think I spoke at 6 or 7 different events over the course of the week that I was there. And Tony Marr, our CEO, who I know is in Martin Place, he was there too and spoke in events as well. And also we had a lot of different conversations on the side, as you do. We can see the Prime Minister having side conversations as he's in Indonesia. Well, we had side conversations in Egypt with a lot of our farmer colleagues from all over the world. So from Brazil, from Denmark, from the World Farmers Organization. And we talked about some of the things that we have challenges with in agriculture and some of the things that we lead in. And then the best part of all, Kayla, for me, even though it was sort of a big experience, was that I got to sit around a whole global round table in an official technical feedback session, giving feedback about how we thought the world was travelling in terms of our climate change goals and aims and ambitions. And I got to represent all the farmers at the global farming constituency, which was huge. And so to me, that was a really great conversation and really brought home to me the importance of having a voice and stepping up and being involved. And lastly, of course, how exciting it is to be involved in growing food and fibre and being part of agriculture in Australia. We really do lead the world, and that's we're really lucky. We've got great food and fibre in Australia. We've got more than we can eat. So many countries don't. We help them out as well sometimes, and it's just great.
Fiona, do you walk away from an event like that, with an abundance of positivity or a sense of, oh my gosh, we've got a lot of work to do?
Both. um, certainly positive. There's a lot of impetus for, but there's also a need to keep telling the story of what we farmers do, because often we've sort of not been as involved in these conversations as we should have been. We tend to be a bit too busy on our farms, and we don't always pay attention to what's happening and what we need to be doing. So this is the first COP that so many farmers have attended from everywhere around the world. And it's the first COP. Egypt was really keen to make sure that this was the first COP that had a special dedicated day to talk about agriculture and what adaptation, which is what we're doing in agriculture to adapt to the changing climate. And of course, in Australia, right here on my own farm, there's lots of things we're doing in terms of being more agile, collecting the data, making sure we can choose the right crops, making sure we can farm in a sustainable way that maintains the moisture and the soil structure and the carbon in the soils, because that's what we want. We want carbon in our soils to grow our grasses, to grow healthy crops, to grow healthy animals. And it's a big old carbon cycle here on the farm where it goes, we collect it, and of course our animals emit it. So we're working at both lowering emissions and sequestering more carbon, and agriculture is absolutely poised to be part of the solution. And that's why I think it's great to be in that global forum putting out that message.
And I think it's important to reiterate what you've just said around, we're not just talking about, making an impact and improving things. We're actually, setting a plan, setting intentions and going after it. NFF's got the Towards 2030 Roadmap, which really has laid out, a bit of a vision for how we want it to look and by when. Do you want to talk more about that roadmap?
Yeah, look, the roadmap is so exciting. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to wobble here with the wind to make sure I stay in the shot. The roadmap, as I said earlier, it sets a $100 billion goal for farm gate production by 2030. But for me, that's it was a very, very exciting headline, and it's been exciting to see, all the states and the stakeholders and farmers and everybody get behind that target. But the most exciting bit of all is the bits underneath that target that are actually going to make that target meaningful for people on farms and for Australians. And they are some of the foundational pillars, the things around the people that are involved in our industry, the technology and innovation that we're going to need, the infrastructure that we have, the trade opportunities that are opening up for us to share our food and our fibre with countries around the world, some of the opportunities around regionalisation and value adding and manufacturing again regionally here in Australia. They're all the things that are going to bring this vision alive to farmers, to rural and regional communities, and to the wider community. And it's going to make sure that Australians keep being connected to our farmers and to what we do in agriculture, because I think with so many people living in the cities these days, it's really important to keep making those connections. We love what we do, but we need to keep making sure that we can reach out and tell people about it. And as we grow this amazing industry that is Australian agriculture, then we need to keep telling people about it and all those things that make it up.
Yeah, and hence we're here celebrating AgDay today, really reaching out to our metropolitan consumers. Talk to us about what you'll be doing for AgDay yourself on the farm and what it means to you.
Yeah, so today, as I said, it's really wet. So we're actually having a bit of a slow time on farm at the moment, doing all the things that we don't often get time to do at this time of the year about fixing stuff. We've had floods, as I said, so there's fencing going on today. We had a load of cattle come in last night, and so those cattle actually are just being moved back out to a paddock where they're going to enjoy a very nice, lush feed of green grass when they get there. They're rebuilding one of our field bins to get the wheat, to take the wheat when we can harvest that, because hopefully in the next couple of months we'll be on to that. So there's 5 people that are employed here on this farm, and they're all busy out in the paddocks doing that. And then I'm actually busily thinking about what I could make for afternoon tea to perhaps have a small celebration later on when they all come back again.
Absolutely, I love that. Fiona, whilst I've got you, one last question. For young people who might be listening or thinking about pursuing a career in agriculture, what do you think Ag has to offer young people?
Oh, I think it has so much to offer young people. And here in our district on the Liverpool Plains, I'm really excited that there are many, many young people who are choosing to make agriculture their career. There are people like our family who've been here for a while, but there's also lots of other people coming into agriculture. They're setting up businesses, contracting businesses where they use technology that we don't necessarily need to own ourselves, but they can bring in some of the widgets and the digits and the tech that we use on farm are supplied by our agronomists and other technical people, and they're also coming in to do some of the other the jobs and be involved in our industry. There's agritourism's now opening up in our industry as well. So it's a really innovation is bringing I think young people in, and there's so much to offer, no matter what your interests are, whether it's technology, whether it's machinery, whether it's animals, whether it's finances, whether it's soils, whether it's plants. If you love any of those things, or if you just love to eat, then there's a career for you in ag. So rural and regional communities, really friendly and welcoming. I'd say get amongst it.
Well said. Fiona, thank you so much for joining us today here in Martin Place. It's been a privilege to talk to you.
Fantastic, Kayla. Lovely to hear that there's so many people who are listening. See you soon.